Quietly decaying in the city of Brandenburg, Germany, 20 miles southwest of Berlin, lies one of the most unlikely tourist attractions in the world, the Beelitz Heilstatten sanatorium. The crumbling remains of the former military hospital has been deserted since the late 1990s, yet it still attracts curious explorers into its bleak rooms and eerie passageways, all fascinated by this quiet, chilling monument to a legacy of war, disease, and death. Like an elephant graveyard, Beelitz is an expanse of hulking carcasses, 60 abandoned buildings that once housed over 1,000 patients. Designed by Heino Schmieden, it was built in 1898 by Kaiser Wilhelm II to confront the epidemic of tuberculosis that ripped through pre-war Germany. The complex hosted the dying victims of lung diseases that plagued the late 19th century with its rapid urbanization. For the next 32 years, the site would serve as a military hospital, but it now sits empty, a vast ghost town with a horrifying legacy and memories of some of the most notorious patients in history. The concrete skeletons of the medical campus are strewn with trash, moldy furniture, and rotting mattresses. Its walls are murals of peeling paint and forgotten graffiti. Its long, barren hallways are lined with cracked plaster. Beds and chairs from a bygone era lie rusting in the desolate ruins. The main hospital, with its arched windows and steeply sloping roofs, seems a hybrid design of the Industrial Revolution and the Addams family mansion. Fallen trees block the access road to the Gothic structure, whose balconies are crumbling to the ground. Vines creep up its brick walls, and rodents infest damp corners cluttered with debris. Built in an age before antibiotics, it was a 600-bed complex where victims of lung disease would get treatment in the fresh air, far from the city. It offered the best medical technology of its day, still archaic by modern standards, which included primitive surgeries and ineffective treatments like air baths taken on its terraced balconies. There was a patient pavilion that was divided into 4 parts, one for women, another for men, with each section split between the contagious patients who were quarantined and those in the general population. In 1908, the huge compound took on the trappings of a small town when it was expanded to 1,200 beds. The facility added a restaurant and bakery, a post office, 2 kitchens and a butcher shop, a nursery, 2 laundry houses, and even its own stables. During the First World War, it was expanded again to function as a field hospital for German soldiers injured on the Western Front. It witnessed the horrific casualties of modern mechanized warfare, ghastly injuries from machine guns, flamethrowers, mortars, and mustard gas. Among its patients was a young colonel whose leg was wounded during the Battle of the Somme in 1916. That patient's name was Adolf Hitler. Between 1914 and 1918, the Beelitz Hospital complex treated some 17,500 soldiers. It continued to treat patients after the war, and in the late 1930s, it once again became a sprawling sickbay for the Nazi war machine, treating thousands of soldiers during the years of conflict. In 1945, as the Nazis retreated and were ultimately overwhelmed, the Soviets took over the eastern half of Germany and used the facility as a Russian military hospital for the next half-century. The Red Army occupied most of the grounds and added facilities like a gymnasium to accommodate the soldiers. When the Berlin Wall fell in 1989 and the East German regime came to an end, Beelitz became a refuge for the country's ousted communist dictator, Erich Honecker, and his wife Margot. Honecker received treatment for liver cancer in 1990, before fleeing to Chile, where he died 3 years later. In the late 90s, several efforts were made to privatize the hospital, but all ultimately failed. By then, only part of the complex continued operation, as a center for neurological disorder. The remaining buildings were left to decompose from neglect, visited only by looters and vandals. But this was not the end of its dark history. A Berlin architect purchased one of the sanatorium's buildings and converted it into a residence for his family. He felt his collection of exotic weapons was safe behind the structure's thick glass windows. Other parts of the gruesome landscape were used as location sites by pornographic filmmakers, and in 2002, by feature film director Roman Polanski. In 2008, after more years of defacement and neglect, a sadistic photographer used the decrepit operation theater for a photo shoot with a young model. He then enticed her into an apartment at the edge of the compound, where he beat her to death with a frying pan, then sexually assaulted her lifeless body. Because the campus is so huge, it was not properly policed until 2015. By then, the site had become a lure for curious trespassers, teenage partiers, and ghost hunters. These were hazardous expeditions. The boarded windows and collapsed entranceways were dangerous to climb through, and the deserted interiors were strewn with rusted medical devices and decomposing hospital beds. To accommodate the curious, a canopy pathway was rigged to allow views into the multi-storied ruins without having to venture in. Some of the structures continued to serve as a rehabilitation center for neurological patients and for research into Parkinson's disease. But other buildings that once hosted a surgery ward, a psychiatric center, as well as a rifle range, have remained derelict for the past 70 years. Recently, letters written by various soldiers over the years were discovered hidden in the walls and under the floor, though no one knows why. At the time, the military forbid them from being mailed out, creating a mystery about what was really going on within the oppressively thick concrete walls. The site has also been a favorite among spirit investigators, psychics, and even self-professed Satanists who find the eerie grounds irresistible. They creep through dank corridors and dingy rooms, hearing strange sounds and experiencing hair-raising sensations. Some have spotted haunting silhouettes moving through the darkness. Today, the site has been gentrified into something less terrifying than it once was. It even accommodates the walking impaired. Urban explorers, goths, and all-night ravers find it the perfect venue to stage their gatherings, satisfy their curiosities, or fulfill their macabre fantasies. My name is Scott, and thank you so much for watching. We're a group of curious and passionate humans, creating documentary-style content for those who share our curiosity, ask questions, and seek to dig deeper in a world where almost everything isn't quite what it seems. We are Mystery Syndicate. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Leave a comment and give this video a like. And to be notified when we post new videos, hit that notification bell. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and for exclusive merchandise, visit our website at www.mysterysyndicate.com. And for those that wish to support our channel, please visit Mystery Syndicate on Patreon. We have a variety of new patron tiers with tons of great benefits. If you want to see your name on a future video, be sure to check it out. From all of us at Mystery Syndicate, thank you again. We sincerely appreciate your support.